everyone. Let me start with something very special to me. The title is Flight from the Dark by Joe Diva, and this is how it starts. In the northern land of Summerland, it has for centuries been customary for parents to send their most gifted children to the monastery of the Kai on the occasion of their 7th birthday. There, they are taught the skills and martial disciplines of their noble ancestors. The Kai are masters of their art, and the children in their charge love and respect them in spite of the hardships of their training. For one day, when finally they have mastered the disciplines of the Kai, they will be able to return to their homes equipped in mind and body to defend themselves and their kin against the constant threat of war from the Dark Lords of the West. So, this is how it starts. Joe Diva, and it's a series. It has endless book in this series. And this is the Kai series, the Lone Wolf series by Joe Diva. I think it has like 30 books like this in the series. And you are, as you heard it, a master of the Kai skills. You grow up from the age of 7 in the Kai monastery, and the whole series starts out in middle of the war, and the monastery is completely destroyed, and this is where the series starts. And as you know, if you follow this channel, you know that I'm writing game books. I don't know, I just one day, couple of years ago, I felt the urge to write game books. Not a novel, not a short story, but a game book. What is a game book? Well, it's imagine like 50 different chapters, and you don't go first chapter, second chapter, third, and the fourth. You don't go in order. What you do, you go to the first chapter, you get to know your character, you get to know a little bit of the world you are in. And then, at the end of the chapter, you notice that there's a choice you can make. Like, imagine you're at the corridor and you can turn left or right, and you see that if you want to go right, you go to chapter 58. If you want to go left, you go chapter 101. So basically, you need to turn the pages, and you need to go to the chapter where the story continues. So the story is changing depending what kind of choice you make. So the whole story depending on you, and it's like branching out. It's going to different directions. And usually there is something an object you need to find, or you need to save the princess, or there's like a plot you need to investigate. So there are different missions you need to complete, or you are in some sort of trap and you need to get out of that trap. And I felt like I need to write something like this. Not a novel, not a short story, something like this. A game book. And I wrote the first one, which was really like a love child. I didn't look up the rules of this genre. I didn't look up anything else. I just knew I need to write it. I need to get this story out of my system. That I had a message to the world. I wanted to say something, and I did that. And then it was 50 chapters. So basically like a short story. And then I decided that I have more to say, so I need to have a sequel, a second book. And that one I knew it needs to be much longer. And I decided to have basically like a double-sized book. The first one was 50 chapters, and I decided, okay, it needs to be like 100 chapters. It needs to be longer than that. And yeah, I wrote that very quickly. The first one, I had breaks writing it, but the second one, it basically I wrote it in one go, and because I already knew all the problems, all the techniques, I discovered the whole thing how to write it. The reason I knew how to write this sort of things is because I grew up with it. I grew up in right now I'm in London, UK, but I grew up in Eastern Europe, in Hungary, and basically I grew up without internet. I grew up with books, with comic books. I have big part of my family living in the US, and they always send over comic books, lots of comic books. It came in a box, and it was, I remember receiving it. It was absolutely great receiving them. And the other thing was this sort of game books, adventure game books by Sir Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. I remember that many of my classmates were reading this kind of books. And we sat down together and we decided to, well, obviously, we learned, it was printed out books, so it was not ebooks or anything like that. We decided to lend it to each other. So I had most of the ones I had were the science fiction ones. So and my friend, they had the fantasy ones, so we were like swapping that one, those ones, and it's been great. And one day we decided, okay, what if we write this? What if it, because we had so many things in our mind, and we were always looking for the next one coming out, like what they going to do, these guys, this Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson, and one day we just decided to sit down and write something. And we were maybe like 11, 12 years old, and we actually got a pretty decent story, which I still remember it. I'm not going to use it because obviously we wrote it together, and I should find them. Probably they are on Facebook or something. It would be probably 5 minutes to find them, but I'm not going to use it. I have my own stories, I have my own ideas. But whenever I write the game books, I always think about it when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, that we sit down and we decided to do it. Right now it's 2025, the last day of November. So this year went pretty quick, yeah. It's very soon Christmas. Everywhere, the Christmas decorations. And I went to the shop today, and at the entrance of the shopping place, already, the Christmas trees and the rods, which is like basically you take the pine tree, the branches, and you bend it in a circle, and it's decorated, and you can hang it outside of your house, of your flat, on the door, and it's pretty cool. For this year, we already ordered all sort of Christmas decoration. It's basically like part of the Christmas tradition with my family. We're going to places in London. It's called these are pop-up shops, so you cannot buy these sort of things. A year has 12 months, so it's basically 10 months you cannot buy it. And in November, December, you actually have this kind of Christmas corners and Christmas shops popping up all over the city. The best ones are in John Lewis and Liberty and all these shopping centers. And it's a tradition that we always visit these places, and we get a Christmas decoration to hang it up. And this year we bought quite a lot. And this year I bought a toy train. So very soon I'm going to show it to you. It's moving, and I always wanted to, to put the tracks, put the fake mountains, the fake little houses, the fake little so it's like a small city, and the train just go up and down, in circles and stuff. And I always wanted to have that, and now I have the space, so I bought that, and it's gonna be absolutely great. I'm going to show it to you. Oh yes. So back to the story. So this is 2025, and when I think about the young people right now, like how they spend their time, it's probably playing mobile games or video games, and I don't think any of them just think of this, that, oh, I don't really think this game, the story of this game or the challenges go the way I want them to go. So let's sit down and with the classmates and just make a video game because it's extremely expensive and you need a certain knowledge. But when it comes to a game book, there's nothing like that. You need pen and paper, and you need to draw the maps, you need to think about the world, you need to think about the character, the weapons, the tools, the opportunities, and all this. And it's basically free of charge. You just sit down and you just do it, and that's why it's so great, this game book. So fast forward to almost today. That's why I decided to have this little fun with the game book, to write different chapters, different storylines, different scenes. I mean, different version of the same scene, and yeah, it felt so good doing that. So I wrote a couple of books like that, and then I decided, okay, stop for a minute, and have a look at the other game books to see what's out there. So I see what my readers got used to. And when I wrote this in Google, adventure game books, the very first thing came up with obviously the classic, the iconic people, the iconic duo, Sir Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. And I showed you the book yesterday or yesterday before in the other YouTube live. And today I'm going to go with this one, Joe Dibble, because that was the other guy came up in the search engine. It says that it's been translated to many languages, but it didn't get to Eastern Europe. So yeah, 30 books of Lone Wolf. It should be time to bring it to East Europe, definitely. So I read the first book called The Flight from the Dark, and I read up the beginning few sentences of the game book. And I remember reading it, and the very first thought came to me that you need to think of it that this is the first book, and it's a bit clunky. This is what I felt. It's like he's like trying, like a baby tiger trying the claws for the first time. There are some things that is like very emphasized. He spent lots of time on it, lots of details, and there are some things that this is like he spent with it maybe 5 minutes and just rushed the whole story. So he was really beginner in this one. And then I read the second book in the Lone Wolf series, which is Fire on Water. And between the book 1 and book 2, there is such a huge difference. It's like you got used to going to work with a bicycle, and then one day, for some reason, maybe you get a budget, maybe you get a very good salary or something, but but one day you can go to work with a helicopter, and the difference between the two is huge. And yeah, this is what I felt when I read the first book and the second book by Joe Diva. so different. The second book is perfect. It has everything you can imagine. There are like fights on the sea. There are the battles in the on the sea, and there are like fight scenes in the harbor, and there are pubs and every. It's like it's so great. It has absolutely everything. It's like when I was reading it, I just couldn't believe it. I knew that I will play this book not once more, not twice, but like 10 times more. And I don't know what happened. I think, well, I can guess, but for example, maybe the first book came out, The Flight from the Dark, and probably this guy um, paid attention to the readers, for example, paid attention to the editors, to the people around him, and listen to their advice, listen to the readers' experiences and everything. What I in the last few years, I met many creators, and they don't even read the comment section on their YouTube channel. And this guy really thought of this and made notes and really, you know, thought of the whole thing and improved his storytelling, his style, his technique, and to give a very, very special experience with the second book. So yeah, this is absolutely great, you know, to improve. Because what you see with for example, movies, that the first movie is good, so they decide to do a second movie, and the second movie is like half as good as how the first was. But here, in this series, with the Joe Diver series, it's not. Every single book you get more and more and more, and it's just getting better and better and better. So he is a talent, and one of the most important talent you can have as a creator is that you listen to your audience. And I noticed that it's definitely it's a product of its time, because whenever I write my own game books, and I need to have a place where the characters meet up. And obviously it would be the pub. The pub is very important in any sort of game books. And obviously they drinking things and stuff. But in 2025, it's not a cool thing to do, like at all, because people don't drink anymore like that. And it's a completely different thing. So so it's changed since the social media came up. So the people, they don't go out that much. They don't go to restaurants. They don't go to bars. They don't go out to clubs, nightclubs, to dance all night. And I don't really have any colleagues who say that, okay, I'm going to go 1 week to the rock festival to this part of Europe, and 1 week long rock festival to that part of Europe. And when I was growing up, it was a completely normal thing to do. So it's a kind of different. So when I'm writing the game book, I always debating in myself, in my head, should I do this? Should I do the pub scene? Should I do a restaurant scene? Should I do a concert scene? Because I know that most of the people who will reading this, they are not familiar with these places. So when they read the story, they cannot put it in together in their head. So whenever you write a story, it could be a game book, it could be anything, a comic book story, anything. The readers, they must be able to imagine it in their head. You cannot do it any other way. And that's why I'm always thinking about this. Like, for example, when I'm talking to you, I'm drinking a tea. It's a mixture of green tea and peppermint tea and cherry and other things. It's a Christmas edition of my favorite tea, and that's it. I'm not drinking beer or wine on a live stream, and I would absolutely love to. But it's a different time. It's 2025. You need to, you know, move on with the times. Always change and get better. Yeah. So that was it today. It was absolutely good to see you. Bye bye.